Starfield is a massive open worlds game that can be a bit tricky to wrap your head around early on. With so many moving parts and mini tutorials launching their way straight towards your face, it can be hard to understand what's important and what can be left on the back burner for the time being. Here are 22 things that Starfield doesn't tell you. When using the mining cutter, you can aim down the sights to gradually power up your beam so that you can break ore deposits faster. This is especially helpful when you are on a quick mission for certain materials and want to spend less time breaking them down and more time exploring the galaxy. F5 on mouse and keyboard is a quick save, which can be extremely vital in unsure situations. Use it before persuasion attempts or taking on particularly scary pirate camps so you can reload if things get messier than anticipated. Also, don't feel bad about save scumming before lockpicking attempts. We all do it. Caps Lock will toggle between run and walk on mouse and keyboard. This helps when you're walking alongside an NPC for a quest, as you will no longer need to sprint, then stop, to stay on par with their slower pace. If you need to do some intense platforming, switching to third person can make it much easier to get a grasp on your surroundings and make tricky jumps much easier. Though this isn't necessary by any means, it definitely gives you a better idea of the area you're working in before making that fateful leap into oblivion. Your starter spaceship, the Frontier, has a cargo hold that you can access from anywhere within the ship. Simply open up your inventory and select the cargo hold option to store heavy minerals or items that you may need for later. This helps tremendously when storing ore and other heavy resources needed to build outposts and larger structures. There's also a captain's locker behind the captain's seat within the cockpit area. This is a little extra storage area for your weapons, gear, and other goods you don't want to keep on your person. That way you don't become encumbered quite as often. Research stations and workbenches don't just pull resources from the inventory on your person, but from your ship's cargo hold as well. This means all the things that you don't actually need to use while out on foot, such as minerals, materials, and heavy parts crafted at the industrial workbench, can be safely left on your ship so you don't need to carry around the extra mass. Surveying all resources, flora, fauna, and traits on a planet will place that planet's survey data in your notes section of your inventory. You can then sell these data notes for a good chunk of credits, depending on how much you needed to scan to fill up the note. If you can wait, don't just immediately sell them to regular merchants. Vladimir, who can be found on the I space station above Jemison, will pay a premium price for these notes.
Let's deal.
Bagging you some extra credits just for scanning the planet you are most likely scanning anyway. Becoming over-encumbered as you traverse the planets is more common than you might think. Why not use your companion to offload some of those heavier materials and items?
Of course. I have room for that.
This is especially helpful when you become over-encumbered far from your ship, as you can't use the fast travel feature when carrying too much weight. All you have to do is transfer some of your heavier items to your companion in order to be able to use the fast travel ability found on your scanner by hovering over your ship with the scanner still open. Pressing the weapon fire button will bring your cutter tool out as long as your scanner is active, even if you have a different weapon equipped. You'll re-equip that weapon automatically after closing the scanner. This is handy when you're trying to quickly gather up some resources you come across that might be in a dangerous area filled with aggressive wildlife. You no longer have to choose between safety and mineral gathering. If you get an enemy's scan level to 100% by scanning multiple instances of it, a ton of info about them will be revealed in your HUD. This includes their temperaments, the resources they provide, where they might live, abilities, resistances, and more. You always want the upper hand when fighting enemies, so having this information in your back pocket is a sure way to stay ahead of the curve when it comes to some of the more difficult encounters. You can also do the same thing with plants, but they don't put up as much of a fight. The crafting resources that aren't just base elements such as solvent, adhesive, and even polymer can be harvested from different flora or fauna while you're out exploring. They'll be found within natural things such as flowers, flesh, or glands, but will act as what they're named next to the parentheses. This is especially helpful since some of these basic materials can be tedious to find within pirate camps and abandoned areas. If you need a jumpstart to crafting and happen to run out of all these base materials, you can also buy them from various vendors, including the Jemison Mercantile Shop, which can be found by entering New Atlantis and the landing area, running up the ramps towards the hotel and shopping section, and continuing up the stairs until you reach the shop.
Hi there! Thanks for stopping in.
When you're in the heat of battle and only have a cutter equipped, things can get a bit scary. To combat this, the game has a built-in quick slot feature that allows you to seamlessly swap from one weapon to another in the blink of an eye. You can also quick slot items such as medkits or food in order to refill your health bar during an enemy encounter. To use the quick slot feature, open up your inventory and select the favorite option while hovering over or selecting the item you wish to slot. Then choose the button you would like to use as the quick slot keybind, and you're done. Now when you hit the button you selected for the quick slot, you will automatically equip and or use the item you favorited. Your scanner is a handy tool that can be used for multiple things. One, of course, is scanning the area around you on a given planet to find flora, fauna, and minerals you need for various tasks. But did you know the scanner will also guide you towards your selected quest objective? As long as you have a quest selected to track within your quest log, when you pull out your scanner, you will see arrows on the ground that lead you to the next waypoint. This can be done both indoors and outdoors, so it can really help when you have a tricky objective you just can't seem to locate. The scanner also highlights items that you can pick up, which can help you find new things to sell on the black market if you're feeling a bit on the criminal side of things. The star map can be a confusing thing, as not only is the vast expanse of space extremely hard to manage, it's also in 3D, making it very hard to determine which planet is actually where. The first major city you come into contact with is New Atlantis, which is home to several shops, hubs, and important places you'll need to revisit. The game doesn't seem to tell you how to get back to the city once you've left, so here's how to get back there if you ever need to offload some items or even upgrade your ship. Open up your star map, find the system named Alpha Centauri, and once you have the system selected, you need to find the planet titled Jemison. Selecting the planet will show you a few diamonds located around the planet's surface, 2 of which will be New Atlantis locations as long as you've completed the planet's initial story quest, the Lodge in New Atlantis. Either one of these options will land you in the city proper. When browsing your spacesuits located within your inventory tab, you can simply select the Show or Hide Spacesuits in Settlements option. This will either hide or show off your spacesuit while in settlements and cities, rather than having to manually equip and unequip each time you land in a safe place. Got a knack for taking cool pictures of outer space? Taking screenshots with the in-game photo mode will populate the loading screens with whatever screenshots you've taken so far. Go to the photo gallery located in the game pause menu to check out and manage what screenshots you'd like to see whenever you're loading into the game or a new area. Did you miss a tutorial that was explained during a questline and wish you would have paid just a bit closer attention? That can happen pretty easily in Starfield since there's a lot going on at once. No need to panic, as there is an in-game help menu located inside of the game's pause menu. Open up your character menu and then press the pause button to open up the game menu, and then select Help to check out all the different tooltips that you may have missed along the way. This includes things like different afflictions your character can suffer from, how contraband and stolen items work, and even a breakdown of every piece of equipment available to you in-game. When you're traveling through different cities and settlements, there may be a nice med pack just lying on the table that looks ripe for the picking. But before you select the item to pick it up, check to see if there's a little red icon in the top right corner of the item. If there is, it means you would be stealing the item if you pick it up, which, if noticed, could land you behind bars. Contraband items have the same icon in the top right corner, only it's yellow in color rather than red. This is an easy way to determine whether or not you can be safely scanned by systems prior to entering without the fear of being locked away for eons to come.
Our scan detected contraband on board. Halt and prepare to be boarded. All illegal and stolen goods will be confiscated.
Some dialogue options advance the dialogue and story content, while others don't. Since the text is all one color and doesn't seem to give any hints on whether or not it will progress the story and or dialogue with the NPC you're speaking to, there's a sure way to tell whether or not the option is the correct one. If the text has a question mark at the end, or is at the bottom of the dialogue options, it's a safe bet that it won't move the actual conversation or dialogue forward. Asking questions is not always necessary, and usually just provides the player with more context or lore.
Beyond that, you'll be expected to use your own judgment.
The choices that end in a period, or are closer to the top of the dialogue options are usually, if not always, the ones to pick in order to keep the story going.
Nice. You're kind of a natural at this.
Different spaceports and cities can have different options for your ship upgrades. While Mars can provide you with basic upgrades and parts for your ship, other cities and ports along the way might offer better and higher quality ship parts for you to utilize. It's important to check what each ship upgrade terminal or NPC has to offer before making a decision on what you'd like to add or subtract from your ship.
You need ship parts, repairs? I'll hook you up. As long as your credits are good.
Though there may be a value listed next to each and every item in your inventory, don't expect to receive that amount of credits for your cargo. This is more of just a baseline of what the item itself is actually worth, not what a vendor is willing to pay for it. This number of course can be changed by investing in the commerce skill. Some items are also extremely heavy and will weigh down your character. It might be best to drop an item that may be worth a lot of credits if it will severely affect your encumbrance. You can also store it in your ship's cargo hold if you do wish to check on the value with different vendors later on down the line. There are quite a few things you can't do until you unlock the corresponding skill. For example, you can't pickpocket, use a jetpack, use your ship's thrusters, or even engage your ship's targeting functionality without first getting those skills unlocked within your skill tree. This also includes the stealth skill, as you won't be able to see if you're hidden or not without unlocking that skill first. After meeting Constellation, you'll get a brief tour of the upstairs area.
So this is the bar. Usually no tender, so help yourself, within reason, of course.
But if you go downstairs just after making a right upon entering the main door, there's a whole underground section complete with crafting benches, a research station, and a chest with seemingly infinite capacity. Since this chest isn't your ship's cargo hold, crafting benches won't pull from it automatically, but since you'll be returning to the lodge many times throughout your adventure, and all the benches are right next to it, it's no trouble to simply choose Take All to grab all your heavy resources from the chest, and then go to the bench you need. Then just put them back when you're done. And there are 22 things that Starfield doesn't tell you. We hope you found these useful, and while you're here, make sure to check out our guide on how to change your character's appearance. For everything else gaming, you're already in the right place. IGN.